Welcome to As the Pole Turns, ladies and gentlemen. It's been 2 years in the making. We're here. My name is Chris. This is my beautiful wife, Leslie. And we are going to be the pulse of what goes on in the strip club industry from now on. If you're an entertainer, you work in a club, you want to come hang out in the VIP lounge, drink, smoke, you can hit us up on the Instagram and we will get back to you and contact you to make it all happen. Our first guest tonight is Lily.
Hi, Lily.
So, welcome to the lounge.
Thank you. I'm happy.
How are
to
you
be
tonight?
Here. I'm great. I can't complain. I'm always happy for the most part. You gotta be.
Getting ready to go to work?
I am actually.
Okay. So, let's just start off with, how did you know this was the right, how did you know this was the right fit? How did you get into this industry?
I don't know. Strangely, I always just kind of had a flirtatious personality. In high school, my senior superlative was literally biggest flirt. I've always just kind of had that aura to me.
Okay.
I moved to Arizona when I was 19, and I randomly met this girl at a house party, and I was miserable because I was living actually super south. And there was literally nobody there, and she's like, "You need to move to Phoenix. This is where it's
South of the valley?
Like almost the border south of Arizona."
Okay.
Yeah, not south of the valley.
How the hell you end up way out there?
My mom lives there actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, I had moved
So cow country.
Literally, well, I'm from Iowa originally, which is actually cow country.
Cow country.
And I just moved to another cow country because I wanted to change, but I was so sad I actually almost moved back. But she was like, "Girl, don't do that." She was like, "Come live with me. I live in this double condo. I don't know how to pay for it on my own. I just moved in." I'm like, "Well, what do you do?" And she was like, "I dance." And so she actually, the next night, she bought me my first pair of heels ever. And I ended up at this same club that I'm still working at today.
Only club you've ever been at?
Only one.
How many years?
10.
All right.
I know, I'm older than I look, people.
No, you're gorgeous.
Thank
Whatever.
you. Yeah, and honestly, I put those heels on and haven't taken them off since.
So,
That's amazing.
So
That's
most girls that get into this business, they have this mindset that they look good, they can dance sexy in the club, they're gonna go be, what do you prefer, entertainer? Most girls don't like to be called strippers.
To be honest with you, I am just so I don't really care attitude. I don't really look at it as a label. I'm proud of whether it's called a dancer, an entertainer, a stripper. I don't look at any of it as derogatory. I don't see it as a negative connotation.
And that's what I want to let all of y'all know.
Yeah.
That's what this show is about. This is about letting people know that these girls are just regular people.
100%.
They're
Normal,
regular
everyday
ass people, and this business doesn't have to be something that is dirty or negative or anything like that. Most of these girls are looking to pay their way through school, support a kid, whatever it may be. So, like I was saying, most girls feel like they can dance sexy. I'm gonna go be a dancer.
Yeah.
So you decided to dance to make the money, or it was a money thing?
I just wanted to move to Phoenix. It was going to be expensive, and it was literally just somebody offering, "You want to move with me on a plate?" But I was like, "Well, what am I going to do?" I was just bartending in the middle of nowhere town where my mom lived. She was a bartender as well, and it's just the same 5 old cowboys to come in. It wasn't really making any money, and I was just ready for a change, and it really drove me to be fully independent and live a life I've always kind of dreamed of living, and dancing has absolutely provided that for me. So.
Awesome, and that's what we're here to show.
Yeah.
So that first night, you said this girl you moved in with, she bought you your first pair of heels, and you haven't taken them off since.
No.
What was that first night like?
So I actually, she, put me on. We went and talked to this guy, and I got my first VIP ever. I remember, I think it was maybe a 200 one. And after I paid house, I believe I left with $250, and I was like, wow, This is like the most money I've ever made, and
Okay.
now I have a $250 night. I'm grateful for it, but I'm like, what is this? What is this?
I've noticed that working in the industry as
Yeah.
long as I have, that girls come in fresh and they make a couple $100
I
and
was
they're
like,
like,
this is
this is
amazing.
Who
awesome.
else is gonna go and make $250
Yeah.
for one night of work?
6,
though? I
8,
mean,
10 months
seriously.
down the road,
Yeah.
you ask that same girl,
Yeah.
and she's like, I only made 600.
I know,
Yeah,
it's
only-
so
I only
funny.
made 600,
I know,
you know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
So we talk about like a best night. What is the best customer you've ever dealt with in this club?
You know, I feel like that's kind of like a wide range of answers because there's different levels to that. You know, I have like my regulars who don't necessarily spend a bunch at once, but they're consistent.
Right.
I have one who comes in frequently and he will follow me to every single stage. Sometimes when we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4 stages at a time in
Right.
one rotation, he's tipping me 20s every stage. And he usually only gets like
Nice.
one dance, but he likes to just make sure that I keep the money, which I appreciate because, you know, there is
Absolutely.
money that goes out to the club when there's VIPs. So he likes to make sure I get it. And I love those types of customers the best, honestly, because you can just sit with them, have some drinks all night, and they just tip you for your company. And ultimately, that's my favorite.
See, and that's something that a lot of people don't realize is that girls that make a lot of money, more often than not, it's not dancing.
It's not about the dancing.
It's about making that comfortable, that
Connection,
customer
yeah.
connection, and making them feel like you're somebody they can talk to.
100%.
We're gonna do a toast to
I
that
think
one right
we
there
do.
because those are the best customers. And
Absolutely.
Ross, when this shit blows up, I'm gonna need a little bit of a sponsorship.
I love it. Woo! I'm excited. I literally feel like I'm at the club in a VIP room right
And
now.
that this is the VIP lounge. That's what we're.
100%.
VIP lounge.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm actually really enjoying myself right now. This is fun.
And you know, we want everybody to feel comfortable when they come here.
Absolutely. You guys have done great at that. I appreciate it.
It's easy.
Well, right.
Well, you know, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know, it was a no-brainer.
I know. I think this is a good start to it all.
Yeah.
You know, when we first started talking about doing this,
Yeah.
we were wondering about places to shoot
Yeah.
and so on and so forth, and then
So much overthinking.
this whole setup kind of just fell in my lap,
Yeah.
and we rocked with it. It's taken us a while to get this off the ground, but
No, I'm excited.
We're here now.
Cheers.
Now,
Cheers.
Hold on, let's
Exciting. Oh.
try that one more time.
Oh, what?
So,
Okay.
'cause I want to edit that little bit of
Yeah, of course,
conversation out that we
obviously.
just had.
Yeah.
You'll say,
I know, I've
whatever,
got
you'll
my
pop the
customer
bottle
service
and
voice.
then edit back in to us. So,
Yeah.
as the
All
poll
right.
turns, everybody, we're here.
Cheers. Woohoo.
So back to the conversation. We're talking about customers.
Yeah.
Very wide array on
Yeah.
what could be considered the best customer.
Yeah.
What about the creepiest customer?
Oh God,
Do you see a lot of creeps where you work?
I mean, you know what? I feel like my club. I'm not gonna name which one, but I feel like it feels more like a nightclub vibe, sort of like. You know, it doesn't ever really have like a creepy appeal to it, which that's why it's the only one I've ever won. Like I've been to the other ones as a customer, and I just find that I like the vibe of mine. Feel very safe, comfortable there, but that obviously doesn't mean that the creeps aren't going to be there. You know,
Absolutely.
There's always going to be creeps. I one time got there at like 7, which is early for me, and this guy, I guess, had been drunk sitting at the stage all day, and I guess him and his girlfriend had gotten in a fight, and she broke up with him, and he just kept sitting there drinking. And I guess he just kind of been sitting there not tipping. And then as soon as I got on stage, and I was like the first girl to come in, like after a while, as soon as I got on stage, he stood up, pulled down his pants, and just started jerking it.
In the middle of the club?
In the middle of the club.
No, you can't.
And I was like, and I was like, and no, I didn't really know what to do. I was honestly like, just dumbfounded. I was like, and I literally like looked over at a bouncer and like, can somebody grab him? And like 3 people are grabbing him, and he's still jerking it as they're pulling him out. And my boss was like, and he was like, you should be flattered. He's been sitting there all day, and you were the first person to get a rise out of him. Which is just strip club talk. It's funny, but that could sound offensive. But
We're talking about in the middle. Look, I've had somebody pull it out in VIP before.
Yeah.
That's
Me
kind
too.
of that's kind
usually
of
where that
like
when
the,
they
where that
happen.
happens. But in the middle of the
No,
club,
I've
like
never.
where everybody
In
is
my
just
10
there.
years, I have never seen that happen on the floor. And of course, it happens.
I would
Not
have
on the
to
floor.
rate that as
Now,
disrespectful.
I
They
work-
still bring it up to this day.
I
don't
work-
you
Yeah,
remember?
that's pretty.
I worked
pretty
at a
raw.
club
Yeah.
outside of Daytona Beach way back, like 2004. And I was working as a door guy.
Yep.
I remember it was Halloween night because this guy came in dressed as like a priest. He had on like the gown with the collar and all that.
Original.
Yeah.
So, this place didn't really have VIP. You could get private dances.
Yeah.
It was $25 a song, and that's how they ran it. And, I'm checking curtains to make sure nothing's funny going on. And I open this curtain, and the girl's standing up on the bench, shaking her ass in his face. He's got his priest costume up here, just
Wait, for
Ew.
$25?
for $25 a song.
Oh my god. That never at my club.
Needless to say, he was
girl.
introduced to the parking lot.
Oh, I
Yeah.
guarantee it. It'd be like that sometimes. That's just part of the industry,
It is.
I feel like, especially when that movie Hustlers came out with like Cardi B and all that, I feel like it kind of like glorified it, and then everyone's like, oh, well, I want to be a
Absolutely.
dancer. And
Yes.
it's not just all dancing. Like, it's hard. Like, I've had like $1,000 nights, and I've had $0 nights. Like, strip talk too. They make it look like being a dancer is this great thing when you're making all of this money, and it's a mental thing. Like, you have to be mentally strong.
There's a lot that goes
And
with
I see
it.
so many girls come in,
Yeah.
and the club destroys them, and it's
You're
hard.
absolutely right. Drugs.
Drugs.
Drugs. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
They feel they need. Some girls feel they need that
Yeah,
to be
oh,
able
for
to
sure.
do the job.
Absolutely.
And
I drank. I was guilty of drinking heavily when I danced.
I mean,
And
it
I had
happens.
to have drinks in order to get myself.
I mean, I have to have a couple to get me in the mood for sure. Like,
Yeah.
especially being in the industry so long, like, it's like, it doesn't even, I don't have that excitement anymore. Like, the baby strippers,
Yeah.
if you will, that's what we call the young
Yeah.
dancers in the industry. They have this excitement and, like, are excited to be there.
Right.
And, the veterans, we just sit there and, it's like a chore. Like, putting on your makeup is a chore, doing your hair is a chore. Like, it's not fun anymore. You don't
Absolutely.
look forward
You're
to
not
it.
shaving your legs every single
No,
day.
absolutely
Anymore.
not.
the luster wears off very
Yes,
quickly.
100%. Yeah.
Yes. So we were talking about customers, and you brought up, you have some regulars.
Yeah.
How do you feel like when a regular comes in the club, right?
Yeah.
And he spends some time with you, spends some money, but then you may see him with another dancer. So are you more on the level of, that's my fucking customer, you better step the fuck back? Or, I got my money, I'm gonna let you get a little bit of
Well,
money
you already
from it.
got your money.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There's kind of a line with that for me. Like, if it's one of my girls, there's a lot of like
Absolutely.
loyalty and cliques in the club.
Sure.
The nice
Every club.
part about mine is, for the most part, most of us get along. Like, it's a really great club to work out in that sense as well. But, if it's one of my friends, usually my friends and I, we all like introduce each other to our regulars. It's like a little like cool of it. But if it's another girl, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, even in real life, I unfortunately have the jealous chick, if you will. I do sometimes get upset, but mostly if the customer asks me to come in, and then I come in for them, and they either are ignoring me or if they found somebody else who's not my friend.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, and
I understand that.
naturally
Yeah.
get a little sad. I'm like, why did you invite me to come in? Like, sometimes I'm not even planning on coming in, but they asked me to come in. I come in for you. I got ready for you, which I hate doing. And now you're talking to somebody else,
That
not giving
chore
you the
again,
time
right?
of day. Yes, not giving you the time of day, getting dance with another girl, and then that just puts you in a bad mood the rest of the night, and you don't even want to try to make money because you're mad, you're pissed.
Okay.
And yeah, you can probably hear it in my voice. I'm thinking about it. Like, I'm passionate about that one.
Passionate.
Yeah, but I try to share, but when it's like a slow night, I'm not, we're all there to make our own money. You know, I am not there to make friends, but have I made friends there? Yes, and they're some of my
Absolutely.
best friends.
It's
But at
kind of
the
like a
end
byproduct
But
of
at
what
the
goes
end
on
of
in
today,
there.
at the end of the day, you know, it is still for each woman for themselves, and you know, I'm there to provide for myself. But if I want to help somebody out, if I'm feeling nice, I will do it. Absolutely.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Is there like how is the hazing?
Um,
Is that like still
that
a
is-
thing?
That's so crazy, like that you say that, because I don't know if that happens at other clubs, but I don't see that happening at my club. Like I said, it's a very sisterly at my club, and I don't know if like it's like that nowadays with other ones, but that's just part of another reason I've stayed there. It's just everybody, like I've literally left my stuff out, not in a locker for the 10 years I've been there, and haven't gotten a single thing stolen. Like if a
Wow.
girl does not fit the vibe of the club and she tries to like take something or the word gets out, they will get rid of her. Like they really do care about making us feel comfortable, and I do
That's
appreciate
nice.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will vouch. We've been to the club where Lily works. Awesome club. I'm not gonna blow up your spot. If you want to see her, you're gonna have to fucking find her, dude.
Where's
So,
Waldo in this
Where
in
is
the
she? You're gonna have to
valley.
find her. I've noticed a change in that since I've started, you know, working at these clubs in the valley compared to when I started in like 2001, 2002. Girls are a lot more welcoming when you get these new girls that come into the locker room. Whereas when I started in this business,
Right.
these girls would try to run you off. There used to be a thing
See,
where
that's what I heard.
there used to be a thing where they would put like Visine in your drink. Now
No, this was real.
I heard
At the club
that,
with that. Okay, so we
Oh my
met.
God.
we met at a club.
Right.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah. I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was a dancer and he was security, and I did not partake in that because I don't agree with that
well,
bullying
that's
bullshit.
that's awful.
But there were girls there that would, if they didn't like a new girl, or maybe I felt that maybe they were intimidated because they thought she was good
Yeah.
looking or whatever, maybe she made good money,
Yeah.
and they would legit put Visine in her fucking
nasty.
drink.
Now, from what
And I'm telling you, that's not cool shit, man.
Well, no,
You know,
obviously not.
now, when I started dancing, I knew nothing about it, and there was a girl there that kind of took me under her wing. She showed me how to walk around the pole. She showed me how to, you know, do certain things, and that I think is what's important to do.
It's very
not,
sisterly. Yeah.
it's although it is a competition, it's not really a competition.
No, absolutely not.
It's not like that.
Every
You
man
might-
has their own type.
Right, you just might not be somebody's
Somebody's
Well,
type.
and I've been
100%.
trying
100%.
I've been trying to make these girls understand for years that you will make more money if you work together
Yes.
rather than
Oh my god.
I always
Yeah.
do. Guys love that, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You know, 4 tits are better than 2. That's what I always say.
yeah, but
It's
I've
so true.
Yeah.
though.
we
It really
literally
is.
I've worked at
You
clubs.
get your little matching outfits together.
Yeah, no, my friends and I, we have done that before. We actually just did that the other night. We went to the back and went double teamed and put on both a little matching schoolgirl
Yes.
dress. And, my glasses are real, but she has a fake pair, and we did like the double schoolgirl thing. And who's not gonna love
Cute.
that?
I've
Right.
worked at
Yeah.
clubs, especially since coming out here to the valley, where you know girls use that sister friend
Yeah.
routine. Like when it comes to private rooms, like you know, this is my friend. She's here from out of town. I'm not going to get to spend much time with her.
Yes.
We should all come in
Ooh,
here and
that's
have fun
smart.
together.
I know. You know what?
I
I
mean,
never heard that one
smart.
specifically. I'm putting that one
Yes,
in
In
the
a-
ignore
in
that
a
one,
memory
girl.
bank.
Fuck.
I love that. Oh my god.
I've seen it.
Watch me make more money now.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Good looking
And that's what it's really. That's what guys need to understand.
Yeah.
Like one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing a gang of dudes at the stage.
Yeah.
You know, this is coming from me as a manager.
Yeah, of course.
I was a different type of manager. You know, most guys really don't give a fuck about. Most guys that manage clubs, they don't give a fuck about their girls.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
can see it.
I tried to be that guy that went to bat for girls and made sure that they were taken care of. If girls don't make money, nobody else in the club makes money.
See, that's
so
the
I'm
mentality I love.
pushing for y'all to make money.
See, I wish, you know, it's not always necessarily like that sometimes. You know, at a lot of clubs, that's what I hear. And sometimes, you know, depending, managers have favorites, which I know shouldn't be, but lucky for me, I'm everyone's favorite. But, you know,
Okay,
it might
totally
not,
get it.
it might not always be that case. You know
Right.
what I mean? But I've also been there a while, and you know, I've worked my way up. I would say I'm at the top of the ladder, and that's another reason I don't like to go to another
Look,
one.
girl,
I
10
like
years,
being
you
at the
fucking earned
Yeah,
that shit.
for
I like
real.
being at the
I
top,
mean,
baby.
come
Cheers to that shit.
I know,
Right.
literally.
Cheers,
to
baby.
that.
Cheers
Yes.
for real. Good for you.
Thank
10
you.
years at one club,
Yeah.
that's a feat in this business.
Well,
That
and
is
it's great too
truly-
because almost every single night, even if it's a slow night, there's going to be a regular there that knows who I am, likes me, and is going to either get a drink for me, tip me stage money, maybe get a couple dances. Like that's another thing I love is there's almost a person I know in there every single night,
That's
and it's
awesome.
amazing. You know, I don't really have to
Yeah.
work too hard anymore.
Right,
Right.
There
right.
are nights, of course.
You've
that's not
earned it,
easy.
though.
It's
You-
a lot of work.
Here's the thing, but you worked for that.
I
up to
did.
this point, though.
It was not
You know?
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm finally at a place in my life where like it comes easy to me, but it didn't used to. And there's still nights where it doesn't. You know, I'm not always feeling it. I don't always necessarily want to be there, but there are nights that you know it's definitely a lot more difficult than others to get in that mindset.
And
Yeah.
you know, I've been
Sure.
saying that for years, and you get, you know, employees, door guys, whatever. Look, everybody works together in a club. Everybody makes money, right?
Yeah.
Your door guys take care of you. You take care of your door
100%.
guys, correct?
Yeah.
I've worked with a lot of people, DJs, door guys, where they don't understand the concept of taking the good with the bad.
Yeah.
You see the shit on TV, you see the shit in movies, and every night is like. But we all know here in this lounge that not every night is like that.
No.
For real. You have to learn to take the good,
Good
with the bad.
Yeah.
And the good dancers will tell a DJ or a door guy straight up. It was a bad night.
Yeah.
You saw what it was
100%.
like in
Yeah.
here. I don't have much, but you know I'm gonna make it up on a night. where
That's always me.
Right.
Communication is key. I say that. Like even in the real life, not just club world, communication is key, and it can get you so far.
But some girls understand the game and some don't, because some girls take really good care of their staff. I was working at Platinum Plus in Phoenix for a while, and there was a particular dancer there. I remember we stayed open late one night. That club closes at 3,
Okay.
and we were there until 4:15 because one of the girls had a guy upstairs in VIP.
Okay.
Everything's done, customer leaves, she goes, she changes, the door guy's walking her out. Mind you, we stayed there for an hour and 15 minutes past closing.
Clothing.
And
no clothing.
That's
No
all
clothing.
this chick walked out. This chick walked out and gave the door guy $3.
Stop.
Oh,
$3.
After you
awful.
stayed open.
He gave it back to her.
That's crazy.
He gave it back to her. Like
I would
obviously,
too.
obviously you
That
need
is
more.
so disrespectful.
Yeah.
Obviously you need this more than I
Well,
do.
did she know better, or was
She knew better.
Okay.
Some girls are just like that,
Yeah.
and that's
But
the
you
difference.
know, they're not going to be there to help her again after that. You know, that's
well, and
noted.
that's also the
You
difference.
scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Exactly. That's the
Right.
difference between girls who really know the game
Mm-hmm.
and girls who don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
On that note,
Yep.
let's go to break.
Okay.
take a break.
Yeah.
Let's go to break and reconvene in a
We'll be
moment.
right back. Welcome back to As the Pole Turns. This is our VIP lounge. We're here talking with Lily. This is my beautiful wife, Leslie. And let's pick back up. We were talking about the club where you work in.
Yes.
What's the scariest thing that ever happened to you there? If anything.
You know, really, I've heard like scary stories from other girls, and mostly from other clubs. Again, I fortunately work at a club where I've never really felt super unsafe, but will say there was one time where I can't exactly fully remember, but this man was like outside, like just saying weird things, and it was closing, it already past closed, and he kept trying to get in. I wish I could remember what he was saying, but they weren't letting him in, obviously. And you know, of course, the door guy walks me up to my car, and I noticed that the guy was gone, and I just, you know, intuition and just, you know, stranger danger. Being a dancer, you always have to watch
Absolutely.
what's around you. You know, I keep a taser in my car, you know, all that, because you have to
Yeah.
pepper spray. So I is noticing this car that usually, like, they have like Ubers or taxis that will like park alongside them up to people home, and I thought maybe it was one, but I just for some reason had an off feeling about this one.
Right.
So I'm, backing out, and I notice the car starts following me. So I'm like, this is kind of weird, but I'm like, maybe it's just somebody leaving because it is closing time. So I go take my normal route, and this person is still following me, and I get to a light that's literally basically red, but I say, fuck it. So I turn a U-E to go back to my club and the legal red, and he does the same thing. So I'm like, okay, my heart's like racing, And luckily I was only like a block and a half away. So I immediately turned and went back in, and then he pulls back into the parking lot and is like facing it. And I get out of my car, and they're walking towards him, and he backs out and drives away. And I was scared. I didn't want to drive away for a while, and I sat there, and I made sure that I had them peek and make sure there weren't cars anywhere. I remember he drove off that way, so I drove off the other way. And that's probably the scariest thing that ever happened to me, but especially even more now. So after that one time, I absolutely am always checking my surroundings, as you should be anyways as a dancer.
But do you find that you do it more so since you've become a dancer?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, also I was young when I started. I was a lot more naive,
Right,
I'm
right.
10 years into it now. I was very naive back then. The older you get, you should be more aware.
Absolutely.
Especially 10 years in the industry, absolutely, it will teach you to be more aware, or it should at least.
Especially because you've been at the same location the entire
Yes.
time.
That was the first
I
time
think
I
there's
was-
a higher probability that you would have somebody
Yep.
who would be more inclined to get a little more
Yeah.
creepy,
100%.
wait for you to come out, follow you
Yeah.
home. So because of that, is it I would feel like I would be on the lookout every single time I left the club. Every single
Yeah.
time I left work, I would be watching vehemently.
Oh,
The
100%.
cars
I'm always looking
behind me.
I'm always looking behind me.
Right.
I'm always, when I leave, I always make aware of the cars that are in the lot too, and make sure that that's not the same type of car following me. But I've been fortunate, I get really good vibes from people, and I could always be wrong, but a lot of my regulars, I feel very safe and comfortable with them. I've never actually once been worried about a regular. It's always the random ones that I don't know.
I find that regulars are more genuine.
100%, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had a lot of regulars in my day, and they were the ones that I felt the most safe with.
Me too.
And I felt
Me
like
too.
they wouldn't have tried to dot.
Yes, and the thing is, you never know. You don't ever
Right.
know.
Well,
which is why you
absolutely.
should be cautious.
Always.
But I am always hyper aware of that, and I make sure that I'm always walked out every night. The club makes sure we're walked out every night, and I think that's extremely
And
important.
it's not like you're going home. First of all, the notion that strippers, entertainers, dancers, what have you,
Yep.
the notion that they are these home wrecking whores needs to be thrown out the fucking window. Because that's not at all what it's about.
I mean, there are a few bad apples that
Look,
can
there's
ruin
bad
us, but that's
apples everywhere.
That's what I say.
Everywhere.
There are. I hate when people say that. I'm like, what? There's always a bad few that's gonna ruin people's, view towards us in general.
But that's
of course.
everywhere.
But
And
that's
that's
literally everywhere.
everything.
It goes with police. It goes with teachers. It goes with whatever.
Race, it goes with everything.
100%.
Everything.
100%.
But the probability that you're gonna get a dancer to go home with you and that he's gonna be cheating on his wife with you is so slim to none.
Well, it's funny
Really?
too that girls come in there, also jealous girlfriends that come in to try to act cool for them, and or jealous wives, they're like, oh, I can be cool, I can be fun, but then when it really comes down to the nitty-gritty, they're jealous. And I'm not saying that I have one, but there are plenty of girls I know girls that are married, or they have boyfriends, and a lot of girls aren't out there looking for that. We're just trying to make a living. We're just trying to make money.
Right.
Girl, I don't want your man. I want his money. Come
Well,
on.
and that's
Right,
a crazy thing
right.
because coming out here to the valley from the East Coast and getting involved with the clubs out here, they're a lot different than they are back on
How
the
is
East
it
Coast.
back on the East Coast? I
Clubs,
don't know.
clubs that I worked at in the East on the East Coast,
Ranging from what though? From Florida
Florida. I got my start in this business in like the New York, New Jersey area. I grew up in New Jersey, so
Yeah, I remember that.
I've worked at clubs in New Jersey. I've worked at clubs in New York City, and what you get there is it's mainly a stage thing. You know, it's an area where people like to show off that they got money.
Okay, I could see it.
So you get a lot more stages than you do like private rooms, so on and so forth.
I
but-
wish it was like that here.
Well, I've been to some clubs where like girls are literally like raking the money off the stage at the end of a set
That's
into a
crazy.
trash bag.
Wait,
I've had that happen a couple times, but not
would
often.
you rather make your money off of the stage or off of a private dance, lap dance, or VIP?
Stage all day. The less that I have to be interacting with somebody, the better. Like,
Okay.
Like I don't mind the conversation, but I don't like when I have to actually do my job. When I have to
Do the work.
feel like I'm doing my job. Like I love being on stage. I love it. I did like 10 years of dancing growing up. I did tap, jazz, ballet, point, hip hop, competitive. I did solo dances with the spotlight, and I love being in the spotlight. Like I thrive on stage. And there's some girls who are stage girls, some girls who are floor girls, some girls who are
Okay.
VIP. But me, I prefer the chatting and the dancing on stage, not the actual having to work part. If you will. I know everyone has a different
No, I mean,
idea of what
But
working is.
listen,
but-
your job is a quote unquote 9-to-5 job,
Yeah.
just like everybody else's job. So really, the less you have to do,
I mean,
the
that's
better,
who doesn't feel
right?
that way?
I mean,
Like, who
doesn't?
wants to go
Your
to work
job
and do
isn't
work?
any different than anybody else's job,
Yeah.
other than like what you're doing.
100%.
You know, but
And
it's still the same kind of
That's
shit. So,
that's what
yeah.
I kind of try to explain to girls who are just coming into the industry is don't get preoccupied with getting on stage and doing all kinds of pole tricks and so on and so forth. If you got it, that's great.
Yeah.
If not, you can develop that slowly. But the absolutely most fucking important thing you have in a club is this.
Oh, I got it.
Is your game. Yeah.
You know, it's
this.
funny you say that. I have actually been a dancer for 10 years, and I don't do pull work at all. Literally not at. And I'm like literally proof that you don't need to be able to be good at pull. And honestly, a lot of men, like there are people who appreciate it. Of course, I appreciate it. I think it's a beautiful, like delicate artwork.
Amazing artwork.
But you know, for me, I find what works best for me personally. Men like you just being down at their level. I'll like do little tricks, like I'll do the splits while talking to them, and it makes
Yeah.
them remember me a little bit more because I'm not just doing tricks. I'm sitting there on the floor doing floor work, and I'm making a
Right.
connection with them while talking. And that goes back to what you're saying, like
Well, and that's
It
something
does.
else I try to explain to these girls. The guys that are going to spend the most money on you are the guys that know the game.
yeah,
They know what you're there for.
Yeah.
They're there for a reason. The guys that are going to spend the most money are not guys that think they're going to take you home or the bullshit, I want to take you out of this life, baby girl.
those are my
Wait,
favorite.
how many times
The
have you
captain
heard
saying,
that?
oh, pretty. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Probably almost every single night of my shift. And I'm like, you know,
Really?
they're like, yeah, they're like, you know, I don't have
Because
the money to
most
spend
guys
on you.
think
No.
that's what they want to hear.
Well, and here's the thing, like maybe when I was younger, I thought it was cute, but you know, I'm grown now. I'm like, baby boy, like I like.
I don't need you to
I hate
fucking
when
take
people
care of
think
me.
that I'm like being forced into this. Like, oh my god, I have to do this to get by. I'm choosing to do this. I'm not forced to do it. Someone's forcing me to do this. I'm independent. I'm making my own way, and I don't need
you're
anybody
making
to
a-
quote unquote
you're making
save
a
me.
bag doing
This
it.
job,
Right.
this job allowed me to save myself. I don't
Right.
need somebody to save me. I've saved myself, and I've been able to get to where I'm at in my life, and I've been so successful in life because of this job, and I'm very grateful for it.
And again, that's what we're trying to let people
Yeah.
know, that you know, this isn't a dirty business.
Yeah.
You have
No.
some girls that are dirty.
Of course,
Just like you
absolutely.
have some cops that are dirty.
100%.
And let's not forget politicians that are dirty.
There's dirty people everywhere. Baby.
Everywhere. But a majority of the girls working in this business are just
I'm
trying
not.
to get by like everybody
Honestly,
else.
some of the coolest people, women I've ever met are dancers. And some of the coolest people I've met at strip clubs are, are customers, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter, like, it's all about, like, it doesn't matter where you're from, like, we're all getting together. And I guess I like the industry because it's more open-minded people, I feel like, that come in.
Absolutely.
You have to be kind of open-minded to come in anyways, I feel like, not
Yeah.
necessarily, but, I find it's so much comfort in there because I'm open-minded, and I find a lot of people that come in, a lot of girls that come in are open-minded as well, and I think that's the other thing that I enjoy about it so much.
Here's the lighter. That's not your lighter. I totally lost your
Hey, here we
lighter.
go.
So,
There we go.
something
Sorry.
else I've
Okay.
noticed in my years in this business is that you get some girls and they're brand new to the industry and they like to come in, they like to drink, they like to get fucked up.
Yep.
I've worked at a lot of clubs where girls are like, they don't care if they go home not making any money as
use
long
it
as
more-
they got
use it
drunk
more
and had a
as
good
They use
time.
it more as a party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When
that
I
was
first got
big.
started,
Yeah.
I was just moving from Iowa, and I had also basically had, coming on to it, I had turned 21. So not only was I 21, not in Iowa, I was 21 in Phoenix in a club. And, that was a big culture shock for me. And I definitely would sometimes use it more as a party. And I wish that I had the mentality that I have today, because I know I would have a lot more money
Yeah.
than I do now. And I'm not saying that I'm not happy with what I have now, but I wish, you always wish you could go back and do something different.
Well, it's
And,
it's
yeah.
it's that
Yeah.
old adage,
Yeah.
like wisdom, or how does it go? Wisdom comes from.
I don't know.
I don't
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Look, man, drinking, smoking,
Drinking,
whatever.
smoking, but
Wisdom
I
comes from
get
drinking
what
and
you're
smoking.
saying. It's something
Got
that
it.
comes with experience in
Yeah.
the game. A lot of girls.
It's much more a job to me now. Like, I'm not there to party at all. Like,
Exactly.
I'm like, I want to get
Yeah.
in. I want to make money. Like, I love my peace now. Like, I've got a smaller circle. Like, I truly believe in just going there, making my money, and coming home and having my peace. I don't like to be around anybody. Like, this job is such a social thing, and so like socially draining, mentally draining, that when I'm not there, I'm at the point in my life where I just like to chill.
Exactly.
Namaste.
What I was trying to say before.
Yeah.
Good judgment comes from experience. Experience comes from bad judgment.
Yep.
And that's the way it goes. And I'm willing to bet that a majority of the girls that come into this business at the beginning of their time, they're partying just as much as they're
They don't
worried
know
about
better.
making money because they don't know any better.
And it's fun. It's exciting.
Right, but that goes back to something I really want to hit on for these
Okay.
girls, especially new girls. You've been
Yeah.
doing this 10 years.
Yeah.
So tell me if you've seen this, right? When I came into this business, if you had what we call a baby stripper, because
Yeah.
you've only experienced it out here, but that's literally what they call them everywhere.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah,
not
see,
just
Baby
it's not
strippers.
just central.
All
Baby
right.
strippers.
Yeah.
So 20 years ago, when you had a baby stripper come into this business,
Yeah.
there was always that one veteran girl that would kind of take her under her wing, show her the ropes, show her how things work, teach her the hustle. What I've noticed in the last 5 or 6 years is you get a lot of these new girls coming into the industry and they already think they know everything.
Yes. Oh
and
my
you
god.
can't fucking tell them shit.
Oh no. I don't even
So,
try to.
the veteran girls aren't as motivated to teach them the game.
No, absolutely not. I
Because
honestly, no
it's
one really
a
taught me.
constant struggle with them. So you have a lot of girls
Yeah.
now that come in and they have to learn all this shit
You
on
do,
their
and
own.
here's the thing: what works for one girl might not work for another.
Exactly.
Like, the girl that got me into it, she was very much like, you put on this whole like facade, like she would make up this whole lie about her life, like very much like a very like fake facade, which I'm not judging. To each their own. Everyone has their hustle. But for me, my hustle I find to work the best. I say if I have a hustle at all, it's just being myself. But then what works for one girl might not work for another.
And that's
you
what-
can't teach a girl.
It-
You have to find what works for you.
And when new girls come in, right, and they see the girls that have been working for a while and they're getting these shows and they're making all this money, and these girls are like, why can't I do that? And I chalk it up to if you don't naturally have that game where you can just talk to people and they like you and they gravitate towards you, your best bet at making money in this business is when you sit down with a customer, you have 5 to 7 minutes to figure out what that customer is into, and then you have to become that. Because some girls, and I've worked with a lot of them, some girls don't make any money being themselves.
See, that's crazy to me because I
Because-
guess all the girls I'm friends with that work, we're just, I guess it's like we've got that same clique, like we're just ourselves, you know. So I think it's just a crazy concept for you to say that, and for me to think there are girls that have to do that. Like I just can't
I
even
agree
fathom
with that. I was
You,
the same way.
if,
I was just
if you
me.
don't just
Yeah.
naturally have that game,
Yeah.
like
I didn't have that
you
game.
really have to
I
sit
didn't-
down almost like a psychologist and
No, I couldn't do that.
analyze this guy, figure out what he's into, and you have to sort of become that. A lot of girls, their personalities just don't work. They're loud, they're obnoxious, and maybe that guy's not into that.
Yeah.
Maybe he is. But that's one of the main points, is that girls come in and they think because they know how to dance
Yeah.
that they're going to come into this business and they're going to make all of this money. And more than anything,
Yeah.
it's about
It's
this.
everything.
Oh, I
to
love
do.
that you keep like bringing that up because it's absolutely true, 100%. It's funny you bring up like the loud and obnoxious part. Like I'm ADHD as fuck, and I'm never ashamed of it. Like I said, I'm not ashamed of being called a stripper, dancer, whatever. Like every night, like I have guys sometimes like, what are you on? And I'll be completely sober, and I'll just be like, baby, I'm blame it on my ADHD, baby. I'm not
Right.
ashamed of anything about me, who I am. Like I don't ever really get ashamed, embarrassed about really truly anything. And I think that makes my job a little bit easier.
Yeah.
You know, men sometimes won't like me because of how much of an open book I am. Some of them do come there for the fantasy.
Sometimes it can be
They want
intimidating.
the old baby, like the old baby girls, and that's just not me. When I try to do that, I feel very awkward and weird. And I love and have so much respect for the girls that can do that. I admire that. That's just never really been me. You know, I'm goofy. I will always be the goofy girl, and I don't care. Like I said, there's nights where it absolutely works for me. There's nights where it doesn't, and I don't adapt. And I know some girls need to adapt to make money, but I have the mentality where if you don't like me, I don't even want to try to make money off you because I don't like feeling uncomfortable. If I can tell you're not feeling me and the
Yes.
vibes are off, I don't even want to try to get money off
Right.
you because it makes me feel uncomfortable. But there's
And you're
girls
not
that
gonna
can
work-
do that, and
You're
I
not going to
respect
work
them.
as hard anyway.
Well, and that's another
Yeah.
thing is,
Yeah.
you know, you have these girls, and I don't know, you could chalk it up to they're new to the business.
Yeah.
I've seen it from girls that have been in the business for years. You know, it's slow, and you know, you're only getting so many customers through the door per hour, and you know, this is your shot. You go sit down with the customer, and he's just not feeling you. And I try to tell girls, like, you want to give it like 2 to 3 songs, right? You're gonna sit with a guy for 2 to 3 songs. If he's not showing you that he's willing to spend any money, get up and walk away and let another girl try, because you're
I
not
feel
gonna,
that energy. Energy's everything.
you're,
I'm like, bye.
you're not gonna
Yeah.
be every guy's cup of tea. You're not gonna be what every guy is looking for.
Yeah.
And there might be a girl that could make a bag of money off this dude.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
will the other girl be salty? She didn't get it? Probably. But that's the game, baby.
That's the game.
That's how it works.
That's the game. That's how it works.
Yes.
But it's a vibe thing too. So like if you have a customer who is spending money but you're not feeling the vibe, are you gonna work as hard as the customer who's spending the money but you're also vibing with?
That's hard.
Oof.
I don't know.
Sorry,
honestly.
you
I
don't
even
have
know.
to answer
I
that.
don't even know.
I
don't know how to
mean,
answer that one.
If I'm vibing with you, I feel like I'm gonna work for it.
I mean,
I'm gonna work harder if we're vibing together because it comes
Yeah.
naturally.
I mean, naturally, it's just you never know. You
Yeah.
know, that's the problem with that one. I don't know. That one's tough for me.
That's a tough one.
That is.
So, if a customer comes in, right, and you go over and you sit down and you introduce yourself,
Yeah.
if you're sitting at the table for, say, 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and this man hasn't even asked you if you want a drink,
Well, here's my thing. The cocktail waitress, we all kind of are like a little cohesive unit. Like the cocktail waitress will come over, and usually we all help each other out. She'll be like, "Hey," like ask them what they want you to do. Like, "Oh, would you like to get Lily?" You know, we all help each other out.
see, and that's
Right.
why
That's
not
why,
every
like-
club is like
Yeah,
that.
see, my club is like that. If I'm sitting at the bar, one of the bartenders will be like, "Oh, would you want to get Lily a drink?" And then, you know, when they go to like, turn around the tablet to tip, I'm like, "Oh, you should definitely tip her. That's my girl. She's the best bartender." She'll
Yeah,
hook
you work
up."
for each other.
We help each other out, and
Yeah.
that's something I love about my
The
club.
sisterhood of
Some
that
girls,
is-
I worked
yeah.
at a particular club here in the Valley. They'll get no burn on this podcast, so we're just going to call them those who we will not speak
Hey, I
of.
love it.
Those that should
The
not be-
unmentionables.
So,
yeah, the
we had-
unmentionable.
Unmentionables.
We had a thing like, and now this is a club where they use VIP hostesses.
Yeah.
Some people around the country might not know there are clubs where girls have to hustle their own private shows.
Yeah.
And there are some clubs where all she's got to do is get them in the room, and somebody whose specialty is selling will come back and try to sell this girl to this
Yeah.
guy, right?
We just have set prices at ours, which I like. I don't like
And
and
these,
I'm not good at
these
it.
clubs were like that. They just happen to be a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
So we have this thing where, like, you're trying to maximize what you're making on every customer. So you get a girl back there, he pays, boom. Once they're back there for about 30 minutes, we're gonna send another girl back there
Ooh, okay. The
to
husband.
try to add. I've had nights where this guy's back there with 5 or 6 girls at $2,500 an hour.
I can only think of one time where that's happened in my club. Typically, they don't do that, but I was part of one of those 6-girl little pony rides. at
And
one
we
point.
would just send them back there,
Yes.
and you would have girls that got pissed off when you sent another
Oh,
girl
absolutely.
into their show.
Absolutely.
But here's what they don't realize: the more girls that are back there, the less fucking work you have to do.
I know.
They're
I
more-
get that.
That's true.
They're,
I know, that's
they're,
very true.
they're more
Yeah.
worried about, oh well, there's 3 girls in there.
No,
I
I
could
love
be
dancing.
getting that money.
I
Women
love
are
it.
so catty though. It's such a competition.
Yeah.
And it all
Yeah.
goes back to you will make more money together than you will apart.
No, I agree. It's not
Yeah,
always
no,
necessarily
facts.
true. It's not always necessarily true, but
Not
more
always.
times than
More
yeah,
times than not,
absolutely.
though.
And like I said, I
Yeah.
don't like doing work. I'm at the point where like, the less work I do, the better. Go in a double with a
Exactly.
baby stripper, let her do all the work. You know?
Exactly, and those are just tricks of the trade
Yeah,
that you
literally.
can only get through that experience. You know
I'm
what
like,
I
oh
mean?
baby, that's fine, baby girl. You
You got
have
it.
your
Keep
baby stripper.
shaking it.
Kill it,
Yeah,
girl. Go
literally.
slow. Go
Exactly.
But yeah, and I'm always the hype. I'm like, woo, let's go, yeah.
Yeah.
Little booty smacks.
There
I'm like,
you
oh,
go.
it's so nice.
So the club where you're at, you guys sell your own shows. There's no hostess there.
No, we walk up to the VIP host, and then you know if they're like wanting a 30 song, the VIP host might be like, you know, do you want to do a half hour instead?
Right.
And they might try to upsell them that way, but you know they will never do more than the price that we tell them. It's locked in prices, and I like that because I don't think I would want, me personally, wouldn't want to work at a club where it's different for everyone because everyone talks. I got this for
Well,
this price. I
here's
got this for
the
that
thing: the
price.
clubs that I worked at around
Yeah.
here, the prices were the same for everybody, but as you got to those after-hour times, the prices would go up. They would start, you know, at the beginning of the night, pretty much through, you know, $500 for 15 minutes, $1,000 for 30, $1,500 for the hour.
Oh, okay, interesting.
But if it's 2:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
that hour might go from 1,500 an hour to 2,500 or 3,000 an hour.
Wow, sounds nice. I
But
like.
that's one of the benefits I see as a manager of having a hostess there that specializes
And that's
in doing that
literally her job.
to make
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And to be honest with you, there's some girls that if they didn't have a hostess, they wouldn't make it.
I don't think that would be me. I'm not gonna lie.
Wasn't
I'm
there-
terrible at upselling.
What
Awful.
about also though the fact that if the hostess didn't like a girl,
See, and that's where things get
I've
tricky
heard about that.
because they will make certain girls money and not try as
Yeah.
hard for other girls. And girls in the club see that shit.
Oh, I know. I mean, I don't know personally, but I do just know from hearing about other girls talking about other clubs that they work at. That's another reason I just choose to stay where I'm comfortable.
See, and
Yeah.
that's an anomaly in this business
it
because
really is
a
though.
lot of these girls jump from club to club to club. And I've even had girls come into clubs here in the Valley that kind of just follow a circuit. And they might be in Phoenix this weekend or Scottsdale this weekend. Next weekend, they might be in Vegas or they might be somewhere in
The
California.
traveling dancer.
Yeah.
Because they just...
I respect that hustle, but me, baby,
It takes a lot.
I can't. I'm like, I just like, I like the simplicity of how I run it. You know, and I have so much respect for the girls that can do that, but I just like my house. I like
feel
to be
you.
at my house with
It's
my
nice
animals.
where you're comfortable.
I don't like to step out of my comfort zone. I'm terrible at it.
Have you ever worked at any other club, even if only for a night,
Um,
like anywhere else?
I have tried a few, and every time I do, it's always just a night, and I'm like, why?
Awful, right?
I feel like I'm like in the twilight zone. Like I'm at work, but it's like a nightmare.
But you're not at work.
I'm like,
yeah.
what am I doing here?
Yeah,
like, it
this
freaks
isn't
me.
right.
I don't feel comfortable. No one knows who I am. I'm like, I feel like a nobody, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm a Lily. Do you not know who I am?
Right.
Like, I'm the HBIC.
Did you experience when you did do that on that rare occasion? Did you experience any of the veteran girls there?
Oh,
As
absolutely.
the new girl,
100%. Yeah, my friend actually was a cocktail, well, it still is a cocktail waitress at this other club that I tried. And she was hooking me up with her regulars, but she's a cocktail waitress. So it's not the same because she's not a dancer. And she was
Sure.
putting me onto her regulars that tip her well. She's like, oh, this is my friend, you know, she's great. But, you know, those regulars also had girls that are their regulars. So they were sitting there being mad that I was getting the attention as the new girl and getting more attention, which I completely understood. And I even said, I'm like, hey, I'm not trying to step on your toes. Like, my friend just wants to get me comfortable here. And, you know, that didn't even really help. And that's another reason I like my club as well. Maybe it's just because I've been there a while, but I just see the overall vibe being that everyone makes each other feel comfortable for the most part,
Right.
which I enjoy.
Yeah.
20 years ago, they would have put Visine in your drink.
Thank goodness. I'm not doing that now.
Oh, bitches were cruel.
Oh my god.
We're going to take one more break right now.
Yes.
We'll be back in about 5 minutes and we're going to wrap this up, get you guys out of here.
Perfect.
Welcome back to As the Pole Turns. We're here with Lily from a club somewhere here in the Valley. You're going to have to put in the fucking work if you want to find her, guys.
Good luck, guys.
So, back to what we were talking about, customers, regulars, all that good shit. We talked about having a good time or partying and new girls coming in and how that kind of shifts as you go, you know, deeper into the game, so to speak.
Right.
You've been doing this for 10 years.
Yes, correct.
Is there a time limit for you? Some girls have one, some girls don't.
It's funny you asked that, actually. So funnily enough, I will be 30 this year in April. And, you know, I'm very happy of what dancing is giving me, but I kind of want to sort of, in a way, leave it kind of behind in my 20s and start a new chapter in my 30s. I don't want to be completely done, but I want to, you know, kind of have something else, you know, because you have to. You can't do this forever. And I still, you know, fortunately look good enough and mentally strong enough.
I can't believe that you just said you were getting ready to turn 30
I
because
know.
if I had to guess, I would say 24, 25.
I know, it does always shock. There's baby dancers that come in and they're like, oh my god, like, I thought you were like younger than me. And it's crazy, like, I do know, it's not tooting my own horn, but I do know that I do look younger than some of the baby dancers, which is actually, you know, shout out mom.
Works to your advantage, right?
Yeah. But yeah, no, you know, I've actually had a lot of regulars that give me other like outside opportunities, and either it becomes a flop, it doesn't go well. Like A lot of them that come in are like partiers, and they come in and they drink and they got these great big business ideas. And when I was a baby dancer, I used to really get my hopes up and be like, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. And it felt like I wasn't like I need to get out of here, but it was exciting to think about that. And I found out most of the time it's flops. But you know, I have a regular recently that's like a very serious one, and as you can maybe see, I will chat it up. He's opening up a tattoo shop, and he's like, you know, I would love for you to manage my tattoo shop. You're really one of the only women that I trust to do it. I would love to, you know, help you like transition out to the club, and I would give you a salary. And it was a pretty nice salary. And I truly do believe him, but that's something that's going to take time. Again, I'm not going to get my hopes up. But also, I have always kind of wanted a microblade, which for people who don't know, is tattooing eyebrows. And especially in my like line of industry, it's kind of something that a lot of girls are into, like eyelashes. And if you get really good at it, you know, when you do like when you do your work on somebody, it's their walking advertisement. So you know, they're like, oh my god, I love your eyebrows, girl. You know, like where'd you get them done, Lily? You know, literally walking advertisements. And I, you know, one way or another, I will figure it out. I'm very determined, and it's not something I want to do forever. Am I not proud of my job? No, I am. I am proud of it. I'm happy doing this job, but not forever. And I'm ready for a change for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you have an exit plan to get out of this, or are you still shopping around different ideas of what you want to do with the next chapter?
I mean, a little bit of both. You know, like an exit plan, which this is the regular, like truly believe would be an exit plan. But if not, because I am used to that, I'm also side shopping. I'm window shopping with my binoculars, if you will. You know, because you have to be. You can't ever rely on anybody else at the end of the day. You know, you kind of have to figure it out for yourself. If that opportunity lands on your lap, cool. But I'm not expecting that. I'm not going to believe that's going to happen. If it does happen, cool. I'm not getting my hopes up. But I actually have been putting aside money, and I do want to get certified in microblading, and that is actually my goal by the end of this year. Is by the time that this new year ends, and it's the following year, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. It's the end of the show, but I'm hoping by the end of the year that I'm certified in microblading, and that I am successful at it, and I actually, you know, have the clientele, you know, making their mark in other girls, and they're going to want to have me do work on them. That's my goal, and you know, praise God. Hopefully that does happen.
and that's something else that a lot of people don't realize about the business. They think it's just girls taking their clothes off for money,
Yeah.
but legit, like, you're at a job where you can network every night. You get
Networking is so
paid
important.
to network and talk to different people, and you really never know when that opportunity is going to fall in your lap.
100%.
This beautiful VIP lounge we're sitting in fell in my lap because a coworker at a club that I was working at told me about it and told me that he really couldn't afford to pay for it. So we bought it.
Networking. It's all about, you
Networking.
know. I always say that.
Not only that, if you don't meet somebody that is going to, you know, put you in a position to follow your dreams, you get there yourself, and now these girls that you've worked with, you have all these connections for what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
The businesses kind of go hand in hand.
That's so true.
Eyelashes, eyebrows,
100%.
makeup, all that shit.
Nails.
Exactly.
The girl from work does my nails. Shout out. 100%. You're so right.
Is there anything else about yourself that you want the people to know?
I don't know. I mean, I guess just, you know, for me, if I have the best advice, you know, if you are able to just be yourself, I think that's one of the most important things. There's always going to be a guy who probably likes you for you. I mean, in my experience at least, you know. You know, don't lay it on too thick. A lot of guys don't like that. Yeah, there are some that do, but you know, ultimately just be yourself, respect people, and have a good time. That's what I think. Yeah.
That's what we're about.
Yeah.
Any advice for a girl that has been thinking about getting into this game and is unsure of herself?
I don't know. I guess just understand that it's not easy. It's not what the internet and TikTok and all that makes it look like. It is not always going to be easy. you know, it is, like I said before, a mental game. It's very mentally taxing. There's nights where I'm crying on the way home, I've cried in the shower. You feel absolutely degraded and you don't ever want to come back again. Just understand that it is not all what it's made out to be. You know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. You're going to have your absolute worst days, and you're going to have days where you feel like a fucking celebrity. You're going to have all this money thrown at you. You're going to leave with like a bag or 2 or 3, and that's what, like, you know, keeps it going. You know, the good people you meet along the way, the good girls you meet, that's what keeps you going. But, you know, ultimately, you have to come in knowing that it's not always going to be easy.
Right.
If you want to keep it up, you know, you just got to keep up that good attitude and, you know, make it work. Well, however that works for you, you know, whichever way that may be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like everything else. You got to put in a little work
100%.
to get the payoff.
Yeah.
Well, this was our first episode. I definitely want to thank Lily for coming to hang out with us in the
Thank you for
lounge.
having me. This was amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Ladies, if you're an entertainer here in the Valley, somewhere outside of the Valley, you want to come hang out with us in the lounge. We didn't smoke too much tonight because Lily's not a smoker. But if you want to come hang out, smoke some weed, drink a little liquor, talk about the business. If you got a beef with a club, you got something to say, you want to talk about the state of the business, hit us up on the Instagram as the poll turns. Somebody will get back to you and we'll make it happen. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you tuning in.